I think that they used the whole thing with your former wife as a means by which to torpedo a guy that would be unfriendly to labor, and that maybe you, not meaning it in your wording, might have fed that beast when you talked about machines in the workplace replacing workers with robots. And you famously said they're always polite, they always upsell, they never take a vacation, they never show up late, there's never a slip or a fall or sex or race discrimination case.
I'm glad you asked that, because my only chance to address a lot of these issues was going to be in the hearing, which I was really looking forward to, because you're kind of in a cone of silence for 2 months. But that quote was taken from an interview I did where a reporter asked me, what are the upsides for businesses and what are the downsides of automation? And I told them both. I said the things you said, but I also said, look, but you can't create a company culture. A lot of your customers don't like automation, and they're not comfortable with it. You've got to.
But ironically, Wendy's is doing just that. Yeah, Wendy's is automating a lot of its facilities post your experience.
Yeah, but back to your point, I gave both sides of the issue.
And only that quote got the famous run.
All they quoted was the positives I said for business. Now,
but people read into that, Andy, that what he's saying is this is yet another reason not to double the minimum wage, because you're all but enticing guys like me to use machines to replace workers who certainly don't deserve $15 an hour.
Well, and in part that was true. What my position on minimum wage.
That sentiment or the way that was?
No, if you increase the minimum wage, it will incentivize people to automate. And I've made that point.
And by the way, you prefaced that you were not against raising the minimum wage.
Not at all.
Against doubling it.
I was against increasing it to the point where it kills jobs for working class Americans. If you're killing jobs for people who need to get on the ladder of opportunity, if you're making it so low-skilled workers can't find a job, then you're acting contrary to what you claim you're trying to do. If you're not really trying to help those people by increasing the wage, you're trying to make a political point. So I've actually advocated for the Restaurant Association and the Franchise Association to get behind a minimum wage increase. But let's determine the point at which it starts to kill jobs. At that point, you're encouraging people to automate. And you've seen Wendy's, McDonald's have announced broad-based automation with Kia. We have not, by the way, but other brands have announced broad-based automation.
By the way, that was one of the ironies in this, that you, Carl's Jr., was not, through its restaurants, doing any of the stuff that they most feared you would be trumpeting.
Yeah, I was just trying to explain to people what the risks of taking the minimum wage too high. In the retail industry, people make about $6,300 a year in profit per employee. You know, Apple makes $400,000. But in retail, Walmart, everybody makes about $6,300. If you take the average number of hours that a worker works in retail, and you raise that person to $15 an hour, it's over a $12,000 raise. People are not going to pay $12,000, businesses aren't, for a worker that's producing about $6,000 in benefit. But there is some room to give a raise, but we have to be rational about it, and we have to be sensitive to the needs of the business.
And you would also explain there's a difference in your industry, the fast food industry, and franchises and versus the parent company.
Yes.
But nevertheless, when you opted out and said, all right, I'm done here, unions had a party. Many of them said, low pay, no way. Andy Puzder went away, celebrated you're not getting this job. How did you feel about that?
Well, again, I felt disappointed by the fact that I wasn't going to be Secretary of Labor. I still do. I wish I could help President Trump. I think he's going to do a great job. I think he's pursuing all the right policies. I'd like to help.
Are you surprised that unions are the ones who kind of like him? And that some, given the fact that the head of the Teamsters, head of the AFL-CIO have been saying favorable things about him, that maybe the administration was relieved when you walked away?
I didn't get that impression. I always felt like I had the 100% support from the president and the vice president.
What was his reaction?